What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by two things. Since we don't do any sponsorships here on the channel, I'll go ahead and show them out real quick. The first is my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and the second is a new podcast I just launched called Chasing Infinity. It is myself and ChatGPT as my AI co-host, and we dive into a wide range of topics in short-form videos just like these, so check it out. Links in the description below, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic, which is actually something that people have been asking me about for a while, and that is, when does the SPS distribution end? Now, we have several different pools that all started at different times and are actually not even giving out as much as we thought that they would. That's extended their time. So this is something that Clayboyne shared in the shard holders room the other day. So shout out to Clayboyne. He had put out the DAO Treasury Report, which you can go check out on Peak D, and I think somebody had asked him to like a little follow-up. So he provided this for folks. So I just want to share it with you in case you guys didn't have a chance to see it, or if you're not in the room. I don't know if he shared it on the Tavern as well, but just in case, I think there's some interesting insights here, as well as important dates. So let's take a close look here. You have all of these different pools on the left, right? So ranked, tournaments, brawls, land, staking, LPs, and validators. Now, what you'll notice, and I'm not sure why he highlighted them red versus green. You know what? Probably, well, let's do it this way. So you have your expected end date. So we'll go to the third column here. And the actual end date on the left, right? I'm assuming the actual end date, if it's red, it's going to end early, and if it's green, it's going to end later. So as you can tell, with the ranked, we're in a situation where for some reason we're 14 months short. I really don't understand that. Why would ranked be that bad? Unless they were not looking at that the appropriate way. We were supposed to end in 2028, right? So again, this is 65 months from when we began, which was the middle of 2022, I believe, right? So July of 2022. So I'm not sure why that is where it's at. But let's before we dive into each of the individual ones, you can see here, let's just talk about the ones that have extra, right? So tournaments, brawls, and then LPs. Now, I'm not quite sure about tournaments, but brawls and LPs make sense, and they were discussing this a little bit as well, in the sense of you need to have, well, let's put it this way. We're not giving out as much as we thought we would. So, for example, with brawls, we started off and there was nobody in tier 5, meaning that tier 5 pool was just kind of sitting there, not being tapped into and just getting rolled over for the future. So it makes sense that there's actually quite a bit left for brawls. In fact, there's 26 extra months for brawls. That's going to push us all the way to 2030. With LPs, it's a similar thing where we kept some aside even from the beginning, right? In case we were ever to build up or start any new LPs. So those have been sitting aside. And the reason we have an extra now is because just in case we never offer any other pools, we'll call it, right? Rewards for pools. Let's say we don't bridge to Solana, we don't bridge to Base, or we don't bridge to any of the other major chains out there. If we just continue at the rate that we're going, that's how we get the 31 extra months. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case for LPs. Brawls, probably, and then I'm not sure with tournaments, maybe we just were not giving out as much as we were, but I probably trust this date quite a bit more now. So if you're looking at this, we have two things that have been pushed to 2030, right? LPs and brawls. Again, I don't know that LPs are going to go all the way out there. Tournaments are now tracking for the end of 2027. So I think tournaments, as long as Clayboyne continues doing what he's doing, he's on top of it now. So we know how much we're giving out every month. Whereas before, I guess we didn't, right? And we know that from, sorry, this is not like new information. We knew that when Clayboyne did the SPS audit a while back. And this was before, all this stuff happened before he was in the role. So I'm not trying to pin it on him or anything. He actually did the audit to get us a better picture of where things were at. So those are all the little green items there, the things that are going to go extra. Where we need to look at is the things that are going short. Now, I'm going to jump down to validators here because this is the one that's closest, right? The least impacted. We're moving to, I guess, 6 months earlier. So instead of the expected end date in 2028, which actually makes sense because that would have been 65 months starting in 2022, it looks like we are going to be 6 months short of that. So we still have, right, 3 years, a little under 3 years for the validators. Where it starts to get a little bit more interesting, let's go over, it looks like land is 12 months short, so that's a full year. You got staking, which is 15 months short, and then ranked, which is 14 months short. But the first pool that we actually have to take a closer look at is the staking reward pool. Now, I don't know why this is so short. This is something that I don't know. I'll have to follow up with Clay or follow up on the messages afterwards. 15 months is a lot. And then this is going to end next year, right? This is going to end literally within 12 months from now on October 1st of next year. So again, I've made comments before. I've made videos talking about the staking rewards is something that probably we don't essentially need, but it looks like the inflation, if anything, if my understanding is correct, then we inflated too much originally, and now it's just going to end early. So we've actually borne the brunt and felt the impact of that already, and therefore it's not going to extend for another year or 15 months. It's going to end next year. But the question then becomes, do we start allocating SPS towards that in order to entice people to continue staking? I've made the argument, and again, I'm not tied to this, but I have made the argument that we don't need to extend it. I think that is something that, at this point in time, there's enough reason to stake SPS. And if we can get other reasons over the course of the next year, whether it's land, whether it's other game modes or certain things, I think that would be awesome. And so therefore, more direct utility and more potential rewards that don't need to come from just staking, right? You don't do anything. As it is, you get vouchers, you get in-game rewards, and who knows what other things in the future, whether it's land, hardcore mode, or other items. But that is probably the most pressing one. In terms of ranked play, because I think I don't want to say that's the most important, but that's the one people tap into the most. And it's the one that we really look at on a day-to-day basis of how much are people earning? How much? What is the ROI of the game, right? That's what people tend to look at, especially if you're coming in, you're a scholar, you're a new player, right? All those people who have that mindset, you're looking at what you can make in your 24 battles a day, roughly 12 wins a day, and it looks like this is ending over a year early. I mean, this is going to go for another 2 years, right, until November of 2026. So we have some time for this, and I'm not as worried about it. At least not at this point. I think it's something that we can address hopefully in a year from now when we've had the effect of the full bull run. We'll see what the impact is like. We'll see what the marketing impact is like. If we get new players, if the team is put into a better position, if the game is put into a better position, if SPS is at a higher value, we can start to have that conversation of where do we go from here. And then land, this is one where, I know that Matt wants to take land rewards away eventually because he thinks land will be its own sprawling ecosystem. And I'm actually not opposed to that. I like the idea of land not offering SPS because there's a bunch of stuff that you need in-game that offer value, or even if you just want to start up your land plots, right? It's more profitable in that way to get wood, to get iron, to get ore, to get grain, and just be a part of the ecosystem. So whenever that does come about, I would be in favor of it. But, as it stands, we're still 2.5 years away. Now, that being said, land has been delayed quite a bit. I don't know at what point we would all, feel comfortable, collectively feel comfortable saying yeah, we can remove SPS rewards, right? There's enough other resources. There's enough other, utility and things in the game, in the land, right? In the land game mode that we don't necessarily need SPS, right? There's other areas in which you can participate in that. Maybe some people will feel differently. Maybe it's the whole goal of land should also be to mine SPS, right? There should be some kind of governance reward for land at some point or, throughout the future. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But at this point, we have, for both ranked and land, I'm not too worried. We have, over 2 years. And we'll wait to see how things play out and shake out over the upcoming bull run that it feels like we're starting to get into. The staking one is probably the only thing that is pressing, but like I said, I think that's a decision we can make sometime next year, and we'll see where the chips fall. But hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Like I said, for me, it opened my eyes to a lot of the actual end dates. I didn't realize that things were being calculated out. I mean, it makes sense, but I had always still had in mind, right? Okay, tournament started this date, Brawl started this date, therefore it's 65 months from that. But to that, to that point, like we weren't thinking about the fact that LPs and brawls and tournaments weren't paying out as much as they were supposed to be. And so in that way, we're in a position now where it's not even necessarily that we're trying to catch up. It's just, if we don't change anything, this is where we're at. But I can see changes with LPs. I can even potentially see changes with tournaments. Brawls is the one where I'm very curious to see if that ends up aligning all the way through until 2030, because that's a good 6-ish years from now. So we'll wait to see how things play out. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.